Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for a very special and exciting PONANT Yacht Cruises and Expeditions webinar. My name is Anna. I'm an Industry Relations Manager here at CLIA, and I'm going to just quickly go through some housekeeping before introducing our presenters. Please feel free to type your questions into the questions module of the webinar, and we'll get to them at the conclusion of the presentation. The webinar is being recorded and will be posted on CLIA's YouTube channel, which is CLIA Global. And with that, it is my pleasure to introduce our presenters, Frederic Jansen and Teresa Dada. Frederic is fluent in 6 languages and very passionate about international human relations and travel. His goal has always been to bring people together, regardless of their nationality. He has a wide professional career in the world of cruising. In constant search of new challenges and new travel destinations, he has been working for 17 years as cruise director for 8 cruise companies on 18 ships. His main missions as global brand ambassador are to support sales teams in their PONANT promotion operations in France, abroad, and on board, to represent PONANT at strategic business presentations, and to develop and support cruise sales on board. And I'm very jealous of this. Frederic just came back from the brand new exploration vessel, the Commandant Charcot, on her first voyage to the North Pole. And joining Frederic is Teresa, Vice President of Sales North America for PONANT. Teresa's entire professional career has been on the supplier side of the travel industry, providing and executing overall corporate sales goals, sales messages, strategic direction, sales training and coaching, as well as management and execution of all major consortia and national accounts for major tour operators, including American Express. At PONANT, she applies all her expertise to leverage the brand's leadership position in expedition cruising in polar and tropical destinations on its unique fleet of small, intimate ships. She is expanding PONANT's competitive advantage by promoting responsible travel, launching immersive encounters, which uniquely combine the guest experience on board and ashore, while forging strategic alliances with channel partners. And joining them to help answer questions is Director of Business Development Southeast USA, Yannetti Perez. And with that, take it away, PONANT team.
Okay, good afternoon, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. This is Teresa. I'm so happy to be here. Yannetti, can you move to the next slide, please? Just so you can see our faces and, oh, Yannetti, next slide, please. Okay, maybe it's my side. I'm only seeing the cover slide. Anna, is there?
Yes, let me see what we can do. We also are seeing just the cover slide. Yannetti, maybe you're sharing the wrong presentation screen. Sorry, everybody, we just had it working just before.
Well, while you're sorting that out, I'll just quickly give you an update on just what today's all about. And today is really all about our brand new extreme exploration vessel, the Commandant Charcot. This ship is like no other ship out there today. And today we're going to take you on a journey on the Commandant Charcot. You just heard that Frederic actually joined our maiden voyage to the North Pole. And let's just jump back another slide, Yannetti, please. There we go. Okay, now you can see all of us. And I actually was on the Commandant Charcot a few weeks ago. I did not get to go to the North Pole, but I did get to know the ship inside and out. And it is, in addition to it being beautiful, extremely safe, it is an engineering marvel. And you'll hear more about the way the ship was built, why it was built the way it is, and just all about what an amazing expedition experience it will deliver to your clients. Next slide. And just real quick, we love to talk about the wonderful awards that we've won over the years, and this just kind of gives a quick summary of them. We have many. But for those of you that don't know PONANT, we have been around for over 30 years. We specialize in both expedition and traditional cruising. We'll tell you a little bit about our fleet in a minute, but here's some wonderful accolades that we've just gained, and we'll continue to share these with you. Next slide, please. The other thing that we're extremely proud of, not just on the Commandant Charcot, but our entire fleet, is that we pride ourselves on being extremely sustainable. And it's not something that we started because it's an in thing in the last number of years. We were founded by sailors, and we respect the areas that we visit, the poles, the waters, everything that we do. Some of the things that we'd like to point out is that our carbon offset is 100%. So we are committed to leaving no trace. We also have the advanced wastewater treatment, electric propulsion system, which reduces noise and pollution. And Frederick will talk a little bit more about that as well, as far as how it works in sensitive environments. And then dynamic positioning, which is where we don't drop anchor, 3D ocean floor mapping, far sounding sonar. The lighting that we use both on the ship into the waters is LED and CFR lighting technology. And we constantly conduct environmental impact assessments prior to and post of any new expeditions that we do. And of course, zero impact landing protocol. And we continue to enhance our health and safety protocols. We started sailing last summer. We took a break and then we started sailing again this summer. So we were able to put those health and safety protocols through the tests, and having just sailed recently, I can tell you I felt extremely safe on board. And of course, we founded the PONANT Foundation, which focuses on people, poles, and oceans, and we launched that in 2019. And some of the questions we have is, where do you sail? We sail all over the world. We cover all 7 continents. We have over 400 cruises calling on over 450 ports. We have a ton of details on our website. We won't go into a lot of details today, but the map that you're seeing kind of shows where our ships are moving. Our fleet of 12 ships covers the entire globe, constantly moving throughout our beautiful planet. And what's included on the Commandant Charcot? As on most of our vessels, all the items that you see here are included. All meals are included, all expedition excursions on the Commandant Charcot. We give your guests a beautiful parka to keep and boots to borrow. And an example of that beautiful parka was the picture of Frederick that you saw in the beginning. And I'm sure you'll see more pictures of the parkas, but the parkas keep our guests very warm and very dry. We also include gratuities. We include port fees and taxes. We include the open bar. And in addition to that, 24-hour room service. And I put that through the test as well. And there's a lot of great options on our room service menu, and it's delivered in a very luxurious way. Butler service is included in all of our suites, and unlimited Wi-Fi is included on all of our sailings, not just on Charcot, but on our entire fleet. And of course, on Charcot, we have a beautiful wellness area, a sauna, and an amazing snow room, which you'll hear a little bit more about very soon. Next slide. So I'm going to hand the presentation over to Frederick. We will, I believe the next slide might be a video, but we'll start, and you'll get a glimpse into the wonderful world of the very exciting, one-of-a-kind ship, Le Commandant Charcot. Take it away, Mr. Frederick Jensen.
Thank you, Teresa, and hello from Spain, dear travel advisors. It's very nice to feel you again. We cannot see you, but at least we can feel you behind your screen or listening to us. And thank you, Hannah, as well. And so we'll start with the video first, I think. Right, Teresa?
Correct.
Wow. It's even better when you're on board, I can tell you. You can enjoy all that. I like to start with that picture actually, because luxury meets experimental. The feeling that you are in that bath, like the Blue Lagoon we call it, and you are in such a comfort on board, and then outside it's so extreme, you know, like this picture was taken very close to the North Pole, and surprisingly it's not full of ice, you know, around the North Pole, especially at this time of the year. But it was really, I would say, I've been to Antarctica, I've been to the Arctic, but the North Pole, I talked to one of colleagues last week, we're still not over it. You know, we're still about with like stars in our eyes from what we lived. It was not really a real cruise. We didn't have any guests on board. It was a dry run. So just a test, also to test the ship sailing into the ice and also the safety. And so the experience is really amazing. Like the feeling of like a lunar experience. You feel like you are really on the moon, and this landscape, this, like you look on the horizon and you see nothing but ice. It's just an amazing experience. All the activities as well, we're going to talk about it. And just this is another thing that everybody should put on your list, you know, North Pole on board a luxury exploration vessel, science ready exploration vessel, the Commandant Charcot. The most beautiful and powerful ship in the poles. Yes, we had some Coast Guards on board from the US, also from Canada. We had also people from Bureau Veritas as well. And a lot of people were really there also to help us about the safety, because of course we're going into extreme regions, and we've done some drills, we've done some experience on the ice where we needed to stay 24 hours just to test everything concerning the safety with helicopter evacuations and stuff like that. So that was really interesting. And what I liked about the US Coast Guard is I asked them the question, I said, in 3 words, what would you say? And they said, we feel safe, we feel you're very professional, and it's the comfort on board. You know, you are in the North Pole or close to the North Pole, and you have such a comfort on board. This is just amazing. Right, so the Polar Class 2 ice rating. So there is the other ship that has a higher Polar Class is just a Russian icebreaker that is actually in the summer not working because they are just opening the routes for the northern Russian area. So they take some charters or some expeditions trips to the North Pole sometimes, but it's a nuclear icebreaker. So we can move through the sea ice, and the best experience I can tell you is that I was in my stateroom and I heard the captain make an announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, we're now in 1.2 meters of ice, that's 4 feet of ice, and we're sailing 12 knots. And I said, sorry, 12 knots in 4 feet of ice, there must be a mistake there. No, and all that in such a smooth way. And a lot of people were saying that on board, like it's smooth to sail into the ice. So the hull is of course reinforced as well. We can really go in extreme situations. There is a bridge forward, there is a bridge aft. So in case, so the fact we have a bridge aft is to be sure that we cannot be stuck in the ice. So it's just a matter of safety. And the good thing as well is the satellite ice routing system. It's not the straight route that is the fastest. So we really go where you have some open waters, so you can really go through these channels that are already created between two ice, and so this is quite interesting as well to see that. And of course, you have the access to the bridge. Our captains are always very eager to show you the bridge and all the navigation systems and so on, and this satellite ice routing system as well. The naturalist, we have 20 naturalists on board. It's like double of what we have on the other ships. This is a 150-meter long ship, so that's 490 feet. It's not really long, only 135 staterooms, but we only have like 246 guests on board, so 246 guests on board, and we have 216 crew members. So the ratio is excellent as well. And within this team, we have 20 naturalists, 14 zodiacs, and another very great feature about this ship is when this ship was built and was designed, it was always in cooperation with the scientific community, because we wanted to have laboratories on board. And this is not surprising because the name of the ship is Le Commandant Charcot. And Jean-Baptiste Charcot, before being a sailor and an explorer, was a scientist. And so we are just continuing his work actually by creating a ship that is science ready, where you have a wet lab, dry labs, and where the scientists come on board not only to give lectures, but also to work and to have the guests work with them. So actually, it's like citizen science we do with the guest on board and on land. And the activities like kayak, snowshoe, polar swim. I tried that one. It's cold, I can tell you, but you have to try that if you go to the poles or something. We're going to talk about the activities, and you can see some pictures, some things we did, like with the zodiacs close to the ship in the Arctic. Amazing. All right. So if we're already going there, two things on this picture. On the outside, you can see this this terrace. This is actually the owner's suite. The screen is not only a TV, it's also a mirror. So 100% of our staterooms have private balconies. Of course, elegance is important in the decoration inside. We take two French architects for that, and the same architects, one of them than the other ships, if you know the other ships, and always spacious staterooms and suites as well. Butler service in all suites. The cuisine is by Alain Ducasse. Actually, we have the very first restaurant at sea named Alain Ducasse. So that is the first time in the world that there is an Alain Ducasse restaurant at sea. 24 hours room service. Teresa told you that before. The gym with state-of-art equipment. There is also even a sports coach on board, and the suites can even have a private lesson with a sports coach. The wellness center with spa, snow room, and sauna. And there is even an inside swimming pool that is just next to the spa with a detox bar, and everything is included. You can have Veuve Clicquot champagne all day long if you wish. And luxury partnership, but this you know already from our other ships. So you do have the macaron la durée, you do have like the cheese, and the very good wines as well, not only champagne, but good wines, and the French art de vivre, like French style of cruising.
Frederick, I have to jump in here because I have to talk about Alain Ducasse restaurant. And I could tell you that when I came back home, of course, I had to diet a little bit because the food was so incredible at the Alain Ducasse restaurant. Just well presented, but also extremely delicious, and much above and beyond what I expected. I'm not sure. I think I had my expectations very high, but the variety of foods, the types of foods, the quality was just amazing, and I felt like I was dining in a 5-star restaurant in Paris. It was amazing.
Yes, and the food in general, the gastronomy, it's not only French. It's also to take care of all our international guests, because we do have a lot of and more international guests on board. So I think the whole idea of this Ducasse restaurant is really for you to taste, because it's all about tasting, like this combination. Or the desserts, of course, you always have to leave a little space for desserts because they're also amazing. And the gym is open 24 hours a day, so there is actually no excuse. You can eat as much as you want. Le Commandant Charcot, world first. Yes. Actually, Teresa, before when you were talking about a lot of prizes we got and so on, I wanted to add that PONANT is the very first company in the world to stop using HFO, so the heavy fuel oil. We started to use the MDO early 2019, and so that's already an important point. And then this is the first LNG battery hybrid electric vessel as well, going to the North Pole, and we have the biggest tank of LNG of all vessels. So we have a 4,500 cubic meter. I think it's like 160,000 cubic feet of LNG. And the great thing about the battery hybrid, for example, this is also for safety. So we cannot have any blackout on board, for example. And whenever we see wildlife, or when we reach the North Pole, then we just stop using LNG. So there is no noise, there is no acoustic pollution, and there is absolutely nothing rejecting from the ship. And this is just an amazing experience, because then the polar bears do come to you. You don't make any noise. And before that, of course, we tell all our guests, please don't make any noise on deck. There are no announcements on the outside decks. And we really lived some amazing experiences with the polar bears coming very close to the ship. And it was just, well, no words for that. And the first ice navigation system by satellites, yeah, there are a lot of world first on the ship, you know. So this is quite interesting. And the navigation system I told you already before. We actually, you can see on this image that we're coming back through the route we took on the way up to North Pole. So we try to find the same route. And so we just can go through the ice much faster. Capacity 245 guest maximum. So the average guest is 200, 220 because we do have a lot of singles on board. Not a lot, but we do have, and we even have some cruises without single supplements. And suite and staterooms, again, all with balcony. 215 crew, 25 naturalists, 20 to 25 naturalists, 14 Zodiac, so 1-to-1 crew and guest ratio. You actually have a picture there of the restaurants Alain Ducasse on deck 5. Dimensions 200, and so it's not too big, you know. It's still a Ponant ship. It looks a bit like it's larger because it's like 92 feet in breadth, and the draught is 32 feet. So the ship is heavier, and the gross tonnage is over 30,000 tons. But I think she still is a small Ponant ship, you know. So it's not too many. And again, if you are maximum 240 guests on board, this is just great. And you can do things you cannot do on bigger ships. And the picture is really nice because at the back of the ship, you can see not only the terrace of the owner's suite, just below the bath, you have like 2 small pools. And then you can see like a huge terrace. This is the owner's suite going even to the port side and starboard side. And just below, still on the aft of the ship, you have the 4 duplex suites with their hot tubs as well. We're going to talk about it a bit later, I think. So the technology as class PC2, the maximum temperature minus 25 degrees, that's minus 77 Fahrenheit. So everything is done to have this temperature. So all the decks, for example, all your balconies, all the floors, all the decks around the ship are heated, so they cannot be frozen, you know. And this part in front of the ship is even a passenger area. So the guest can even go there and walk left and right. So you have an amazing space. You have a lot of space to be able to see the wildlife and the horizon and so on. So, and the 2 azipods permit us also to sail in a really good way. And there are very strong azipods like that, 34 megawatts. It's 7 times the power of a sister ship, for example, like Le Boréal, Série, Austral, Soleil, L'Ideal. It's 7 times the power and 3 times more space on board for the guests.
Frederick,
electric propulsion. Yes.
Can we just go back? I just want to quickly talk about the ice class PC2. I know that you mentioned it in the beginning, but I just want to, talk about that again because this really means a lot, especially when you're sailing in extreme conditions like the North Pole or deep into Antarctica. The hull of the ship is extremely strong. It's, if I'm not mistaken, it is out, as far as passenger ships are concerned, luxury passenger ships, it is the only PC2 ship in the water today. Is that correct?
That is correct. It's actually, and that's what the U.S. Coast Guard and all said on board. It's actually the most powerful ship with passengers on board in the world right now. So what we can do in Arctic, in the North Pole or Antarctica, no other ship can do it. And even those that are being built now will not break, cannot go into the ice like we can. I mean, the power of the ship is just amazing. We're not going to abuse the power. We'll only have it for safety reason, to be sure we cannot be stuck in the ice. And I think this is a very, very important part. We're not like breaking the ice. We're just like we're just crushing the ice from the front. And it's just the word, again, I repeat the word smooth, because when you think about an icebreaker, you think about a lot of vibrations and so on. But of course you feel the vibrations, but it's compared to the other, because we had people on board in the North Pole having been to the North Pole 15 times, and they said this is nothing compared to the other icebreakers we were on. This is nothing. This is really smooth. So that was quite nice for us to hear that as well from people that have the experience.
And I know that we're getting really technical, to travel advisors are getting technical in this, but what this all equals for you is that your guests will have an amazing experience. They'll be safe. Number one, safe it's safe. You know, safety is first and foremost. But all of these applications and building of the ship and designing of the ship to get your guests to parts of the world that most ships cannot sail to is all about your guest experience. So this all equals an amazing guest experience and makes it easier for you to sell as well.
Well, an example is very easy. We're supposed to be in the North Pole on September 7th, and we actually reached the North Pole on September 6th at 10:38 a.m. So we actually arrived one day earlier. And, you know, this is just to show you how smooth and how powerful this ship was, and all the system, you know, also the satellites tracking system to go, you know, to take the fastest way was what was quite amazing. But we have to stay humble and in front of the nature. So, but we do know now the power of the ship, and we do know the capacity of the ship. Again, the ships that are now being built that are going into the ice or want to go into the ice are not going to be able to do what we can do with that ship. And I think I don't want to boast too much, but it's just the truth. It's a fact. Yes, so powered by liquefied natural gas, the latest electric batteries, we have 30,000, sorry, we have the lithium battery is like, I don't have the numbers here, but we have advanced water, wastewater treatment. We don't reject anything, so we can keep or burn, or I mean, we can do everything with our waste on board. The energy optimization system, thanks also to the electric batteries and waste heat recovery system. It means that all the heat coming from the engine, we use it, for example, to heat our swimming pools or to heat the benches all around the deck 5, because there is one deck going all around the ship, and this is really good. That we have this this deck. You can just walk all around the ship. You can do your walk a mile. You do 5 times the round, and you have your walk a mile. So we will see a few more pictures now.
Frederick, real quick on the batteries, I'll just add, guys, when I was on board, there is a full, very large room full of batteries. It's like a chamber of batteries, and each battery cell is wrapped in Kevlar to keep it protected from overheating. There are fans in there. The life of the batteries that Frederick mentioned will last a very long time. I think after 10 years, they'll still be at 70% power. So it's all been thought out so well, but it's not like we just have a couple of batteries around. There is a full room that, you know, will power the ship, as Frederick explained. And I think this picture here, Frederick, if everybody looks very closely, you will see Le Commandant Charcot just under the H in heart. And I'll give it back to you, Frederick.
Yes, because you can see the ship very small, about like just below the word heart. But this is also a good thing to explain, that when you go through the ice, you should know that 2 or 3 days later, everything is back together. It's like a zipper, you know, you go through the ice and just afterwards it's closing like a zipper. And we have satellite pictures showing that 2 or 3 days after, there is no more trace of our passage, because the ice comes back together. And again, we're going to take the leads, you know, all these open waters, to go through the ice as much as possible. So safety first, of course, comfort and luxury in the heart of the extreme landscape. I like that sentence. It resumes it all. But yeah, we feel very small in this huge Arctic ocean. You know, it's like really, it's everything you see, and the wildlife as well. I think we're going to talk about it a bit later. But I mean, all the activities and the scientist part as well. The true exploration, yes, you can see just there when you go ashore. One might think it's like all flat, but it's not, because you have like the ridges coming together, and it's creating these kind of mountains that can be really quite high. So it's not completely flat. And then you have the expedition team and all the naturalists that are there to do some walks or snowshoeing, the scientists as well. What amazed me on board is that the scientists were really happy. They said the ship is a great opportunity for us because we can do our work, but we can also be challenged by the questions of the guests. And so the fact that they do presentations, because they're used to do presentations, they come from Norway, from Sweden, from the MIT, from France, from all around the world. And actually what they said is that when we do presentations, usually we do them for children or, you know, for science meetings and stuff like that. But now we have guests that are, you know, guests coming on board Le Commandant Charcot can maybe go back home and have another perspective of everything, because everything that is told on board is told by professionals, naturalists or scientists. It's not the television, you know, they are telling you, I mean, there are professionals and there are people that know and that like to teach you, that like to tell you how things are. It's not the television. I hope you understand what I mean. Like it's the people that are there. And they said that, for example, the Arctic is under, there are no sufficient data to fully understand its rapid change. So the fact that we go like 3 or 4 times in one season to the North Pole for them is really useful, because then they can compare data and they can use, between brackets, our guests also to collect data, plankton or other stuff and other activities we did with the guy. And you learn so much on board. And this is the whole idea. You learn so much. This is the video when we arrived in the North Pole, I think, maybe.
Yes, that's what it is, and it's so exciting. You'll hear and see the excitement with the captain.
Good morning, dear passengers, your guests, your captain. So we just reached 900 degrees north. It's a very historical moment. It's the first time that a French ship arrived to the pole, and we are all of us very proud. It was a team spirit with Compagnie du Ponant, and with definitely a lot of humility we will accept this victory, let's say. So enjoy North Pole.
Last picture is really great because you are inside in this indoor pool, in this, you know, comfort with the detox bar next to you, and then you have this outside world. And sometimes we saw even some footsteps like of polar bears, and it was amazing. So yeah, the zero noise emission did allow us this experience with the wildlife. Again, it's without any noise. We just arrive, and then we see if the animal comes to us, fine. 2 times out of 3, the animal did come to us, like the polar bears did come to us. And otherwise, they just continue their way. They look at us and they just continue. But sometimes they are curious and come a bit closer. And I can tell you, it's really moving. It's really moving when you live that kind of experience. We stay enough time so that everyone can really have the time. But after, what I also like with Ponant is that we leave, you know, we leave the polar bear in peace, and we just continue our route. And yeah, the one expedition leader said at certain point we didn't know who was looking at who. You know, it was the polar bear looking at us or us looking at the polar bear. And people got really emotional. I can tell you, it's something they will remember all their life. Designed for science, again, from the beginning of this project of Le Commandant Charcot, the ship has been built with the labs on board, so the dry lab, the wet lab, research equipment that are put permanently on board. So currently the ship is sailing to South America to go to the Antarctica and start her season there, and it's fully equipped, like with meteorological data, with the depth of the sea, temperature. And other data that are ready already for the Antarctic season. And we do host environmental scientists a year round. They don't they just have to ask Ponant to come on board, and they can. And so it's really we give the ship the opportunity for the scientists to use it. They don't need to pay anything, and they just come on board and enjoy fully their experience. And the exercise we did in the North Pole was very, very satisfying, because we didn't know they would take so much equipment with them, and they could really work. They even work at night, so they can stop the ship at 2 a.m. and just do some research in that particular point, GPS point, because we do have the time. We're not in a hurry, and we take the time for scientists as well. And combine this with the lectures of the scientists in the theater, combine it with the lectures of the naturalists, and in one day, again, you learn so much, and it's so rich in the program when you are on board and even ashore. Yes, the founder of PONANT, Jean-Emmanuel Sauvé, always said this sentence: the company was created by sailors, so we'll protect best what we know well. We even work with local communities, like Greenlandic communities, and they help us create not only the itineraries, but also the activities, like the dog sledge that we will organize in East Greenland with the local communities. So this is an important part as well. And yes, and it offers the opportunity to make a positive impact, and especially to see the world as it is and to understand it in a better way as well. Again, you're surrounded by professionals, you're surrounded by scientists from all over the world. So it's a good opportunity as well. Well, this is an example that I really like. It's called Float the Boat. It's actually a project that started in 2015 in Seattle in the United States. So students are building these wooden boats, and we just leave them there on the ice. And so they're going to be found in 2-3 years, who knows where. And you have the website written on these small boats. You have a number as well, so you can track your boat on the internet just after your cruise as well. On the left-hand side, you can see the passengers' parkas that you can get, and you can get them you can bring them back home. And on the right-hand side, you have the captain and scientists that are there. And you also have a buoy. You see the white buoy on the left of the picture. And this is also all measurement systems that they use. So actually, all the guests could leave a little boat like that, the Float Your Boat project, and you could paint it a little bit, and that was quite interesting as well. And you can see the ship at the back, like so nice, so beautiful. Yes, and of course the Northern Lights from mid-August to late April. It's a great opportunity to see. We did see them as well during our cruise and doing our dry run cruise, and this is also another gift of the nature when you see the Northern Lights. Expedition activities. Oh, actually on the picture you can see in the front, this is the tool, the thing you can see at the bow of the ship. This is the tool to measure the ice, and these data are given all around the world to all the scientific community live. So like with just a few seconds delay, but all these, so you can always measure the thickness of the ice, and this is actually new as well. And so we explained this to the guests there at the bow of the ship, and you can see how powerful. And just above Le Commandant Charcot, this is the deck 5, where you can go all around the ship, and you can also find the Swarovski long views. So you can spot the first polar bear or the whales or any animal or the orcas, and while you are on deck. Let's go through these activities first. So, of course, Zodiac cruising, which is an amazing experience in this part of the world, but also in Antarctica as well. You have your naturalist on board the Zodiac, and he or she will explain all the wildlife and some details. I learned a lot during the North Pole cruise. I had been already to the Arctic and Greenland and Baffin Sea and to Antarctica, but you always learn so much and new things as well. This is another area of the world where you also, like in the North Pole, all the mobile phone times went wild, because once you are in America, once you are in Russia, once you are in Asia, and so they all go wild, So there are like funny things that they explain to you as well. You actually travel around the world when you're looking for the North Pole. Hiking, I think that was an activity. I said, okay, hiking, all right. But then again, we have high mountain naturalists. They just take a snowflake and give you the whole story of this snowflake, and just that little simple thing makes a huge impact on you, and explain the different kind of ice and why you find the ridges and why you find this color, or why some is soft while there is snow when there is ice, and which area we should take care of when we walk around. And we all have these boots that are like a free rental on board, and you can put them on a rack just before when you come back, and they are disinfected and dried as well. So it's a new system that is quite nice as well. And the parkas really do keep you in the Arctic ice fishing. You have snowshoeing. Now that was really interesting, and I said to the naturalist, I would really encourage all the guests, even those that think that they have a little bit difficulty in walking, they can really do this activity. It's really great snowshoeing. And so in East Greenland, together with the local community, with Inuits, we're going to do dog sledging as well. That's going to be interesting. Kayaking, yes, see the landscape. I mean, when you see this picture, imagine yourself there. It's, you know, and then you have the guide with you explaining everything as well. And we have the entire equipment. And the great thing, we have paddles that are from the Inuits, that are wooden paddles, if you want, of course. Otherwise, you have regular paddles. But if you want, you have like this old wooden paddles, like Inuits would be in their kayaks. You know, kayak is actually an Inuit word, like anorak. You know, these are all things you learn, or you're reminded when you're there. And then the sun doesn't set, you know, when you are there. So, oh, actually, that was a polar plunge. So it's cold. So your body is telling you, come back. Well, actually, these are the activities that you can do. And the doctor is there, of course, just in case. You can do polar swimming just below right. And you can do country skiing. So these are a lot of activities we organize. And apart from that, you also have some scientists that are there for citizen science, left and right. Basically, you always have a lot of activities to do. But we like, with the Commandant Charcot, we say less is more. We don't want to propose too many activities on the same day, so that you can really enjoy them fully and that we have the time to do them correctly. Onboard activities, so wildlife viewing, of course, we will wake you up in the middle of the night if there are some northern lights or anything else. This is always at Ponant, you know, we always wake you up whenever we think it's nice for you to see something. The naturalist and scientist lecture, citizen science, the snow room, because that is like typical Nordic. So you combine the hot with the cold, the sauna with the snow room, music and entertainment. Now, a lot of guests were really, really surprised, because we do have like musicians, a lot of them singers. We have a couple of dancers. We have, so, you know, it's quite, you know, you have a lot of different type of musical entertainment and shows, piano, a concert in the theater, and so on. Fitness classes and gym. Again, you have the sports coach doing yoga, Pilates, meditation class, morning gym. You have aqua gymnastics as well, so water gym, and private coach lessons, private lessons with a coach for the suites. Walking track all around the deck. Again, 5 times around the ship is your mile. Spa and sauna, this is all included. The movies, documentaries, not only in your stateroom, but also in the theater, and the outdoor pool, the Blue Lagoon, and also the indoor pool by the detox bar. You won't get bored. There's a library, of course, as well, and, you know, a lot of different kind of activities organized by the cruise director. Oh, this is a nice picture with the 2 polar bears. If you can just go back, this is no Photoshop. This is a real picture. You are actually on deck, and the polar bears are that close. If you just can come back to the one before, because I think it's a really nice one. Please, if it's not possible, we talk about the staterooms. So you've got like the prestige staterooms, all with balconies. The owner suite on the top right and down left. So the owner suite, listen very carefully. The owner suite is like 1,200 square feet, and the terrace is 2,000 square feet. So, you know, that's for the owner suite on the right hand side, and of course with a hot tub and duplex suites on the left hand side below. That are also really, really nice, with like over 1,000 square feet, and 280 square feet terrace with a hot tub as well. And a duplex suite, so you just lift your head from your bed and you have the view on the wake of the ship, on the aft of the ship. The same for the owner suite, just amazing. Of course, you have the butler service, and you even have your private Swarovski telescope on your terrace in the owner suite. There are amazing staterooms, I must say, amazing suites. On the left-hand side, you have when you enter the ship, when you board the ship, these are the expedition rooms. And so there's one on port side, one on starboard side, and on deck 5 on the right-hand side, you have this atrium with this modern piece of visual art by Miguel Chevalier. It's like 9 meters on 3 meters. It's quite huge, just in front of the lifts. And just below, you have the atrium area with the expedition desk, and also with the reception desk, of course, open 24 hours a day.
Real quick, Frederick, Yannetti, if you could go back to the previous slide, the video art display, as Frederick talked about, actually changes constantly. So there's different, you'll constantly see that evolving into different images, and it also is, you'll also see it on the main level of the lobby, in front of those sofas and chairs that you see at the bottom there. But it's pretty incredible, and the colors change too. So you're not just seeing blue all the time. There's pretty amazing displays that are shown, and they're all depicting different variations of polar kind of expression. It's pretty amazing to see.
The programs are different in the morning or in the afternoon or in the evening, and it's accompanied by a very nice music that goes with it. It's a very classy and very nice design, I would say. On the top left, you have the panoramic lounge with the library. Again, beautiful view in the front of the ship. The theater, of course, all the guests can go into the theater. The indoor pool, and you can see just behind on the right the detox bar. This is a great area, and you have the open. You know, the roof is open. You cannot open the roof because it's too cold outside. But actually, if you're swimming there at night, you can even see the northern lights. And this is what we experienced when we were in the swimming pool at night. And I can tell you, it's mamma mia, it's amazing. The main dining room, so the Alain Ducasse restaurant, and all the wines, of course. The snow room on the left. It's okay. The snow room on the left. The next slide, please. Yeah. So the snow room very close to the sauna, and then you have got the massage rooms like for couples or singles. You've got a nail salon, you've got a hairdresser salon, and and all these areas have like names of Inuit names. So like this is Siku. Siku means ice in Inuit, like the snow room, and very comfortable area, the spa area.
The snow room was a really unique feature. I actually had to go in. I love snow, but I was just so amazed to go in there and sit and be sitting, you know, with a big pile of snow around me and getting that, you know, I was in the sauna first. I followed the instructions and went into the snow room, and it's just a really unique and different feature. Whether you're in a polar area or not, it's something that you don't see on a ship, and it's very cool. In more ways than one.
It's good for your blood circulation, and it's apparently also good for the stress. You know, the hot and then the cold.
Yes, exactly. I definitely felt that.
Yeah, no, it was a good experience. Yeah, and it's okay. I thought it was going to be much colder in the snow room, but it was a very good experience, and I would definitely recommend it because it's you feel rejuvenated after that, if I may say so.
Yes, for sure.
And the spa team is amazing as well, you know that. And the spa is very close to the indoor pool, so it makes it. So we're here on the aft of deck 9. This is an area with a bar on the right, and then you've got these 2 baths called the Blue Lagoon. It's exactly what exists in Iceland. You know, there are 2 separate baths where we can have 2 different temperatures, and it's hot water, of course. And the whole idea is for you to be in that hot water and have the view around nearly 360. And what is also very good is that all the seats that are around are all heated, and you have a fire pit in the center, so you can even put your towel or your bathroom on it, So when you come out of the bath, you have your hot towel or your hot bathrobe, and that is really very comfortable. Yes, again, this picture says it all. You know, you are in this hot water in this blue lagoon on the aft of the ship, and so all the fixed seats that you see all around are all heated. Not the one that you can move, but the one that are fixed are all heated. And again, it's heat recovery system from the engine, so we don't produce extra heat to heat our swimming pools or these benches. There are even heated benches on deck 5, the deck that goes all around the ship. That's also amazing technology. We're going to talk about the Arctic. This is the Mom and the Cub that we saw also on our way to the North Pole. They were very curious and they were playing a lot. We have a lot of very nice pictures where they are playing and jumping around and like, oh, they are so cute. And yeah, we had a great time. Do you want me to go on, Teresa, or you want to take that one?
Sure, you can talk a little bit about these. We don't have a lot of time left, but just a quick snapshot of some of the itineraries.
Yeah, of course, these itineraries are just amazing and once in a lifetime experience, I would say. We're now taking the bookings for July and August next year. You can see just on the left when we arrived in the North Pole, 90 degrees north. And so yes, I would say this is absolutely one cruise one should do. Polar bears, we did see them. We saw even a blue whale. We saw a lot of seals, Arctic foxes. It was more in Spitsbergen we saw them, and walruses we saw as well. Whales again, and so this is all about the activity. And then it's not only going to the North Pole and coming back. We stop, of course, and so we have the activities on the ice floe as well. And so we have the flight from Paris to Longyearbyen in Spitsbergen and back. This is an exceptional cruise that we go to East Greenland in collaboration with the local communities, with the Inuits, and we actually go on the trace of all the explorers and also the French explorers to the village that Paul-Émile Victor and the Commandant Charcot were doing. So we go to the largest national park in the world and UNESCO Biosphere Reserve. So the encounter of local people as well, and you can see their tradition and even try the dog sledge as well. And again, narwhals, seals, Arctic foxes, orcas, polar bears as well are very often seen in that area. In Antarctica now, what a nice picture, that one. In Antarctica, this is our first cruise that we're going to do in a few days now. We have the bookings open for October and November next year. We go from Punta Arenas, so we go further, more into the ice floe on the western part of the peninsula, Peter First Island, Charcot Island, and we're going to try to spot also these emperor penguins of the Bellingshausen Sea. And every time you go to Antarctica, anyway, you're sure to see the whales. You're sure to see so many types of penguins as well, and the walrus, and the seals, and so many animals and wildlife, and the birds as well. We always forget the birds, but they're also nice. And again, you're going under the Antarctic Circle, and you're doing itineraries that have hardly ever been done before in such a comfort. This is I would like to do that one from Ushuaia to Dunedin in New Zealand. And it actually goes to the Ross Sea and Amundsen Sea. There, you really feel you are an explorer, because there are really, really, really not many people going there and doing this kind of voyage. And it's very complete. You need to have time. It's 30 days, 28 nights. But I think that's really an amazing voyage to do. January 15th in 2023. Yes, we have no single supplement cruises. We have 4 on the Commandant Charcot. Maybe you want to take it over, Teresa, now?
Sure, I'll take it over. Yeah, we just always like to point this out at the end. Check our website, go into offers, and at any given time, we have many cruises without a single supplement. So they're great for the single traveler, but also for the travelers that would love to have their own straight stateroom, and it's an excellent opportunity, and it's available for all of our ships. So check that out on a daily basis. It's updated and a wonderful opportunity. And then we just like to always remind you, the travel advisor, that if you take the PONANT Academy training, you will earn a $100 Amazon e-card after you've made your first booking. And more information is available with any of your sales team, which is right here on this screen. I love to show this shot of the sales, the business development team and customer support team. All of your favorite PONANT staff members are listed there. I'll quickly go through them. Preston is our director for the Central region. Ellen is our director for the Northwest region. Dale is director for the Northeast. Inetti Perez, director for the Southeast. Lindsay is our director of Commandant Charcot. Rita is our director of groups and also Latin America. And Catherine Bryn holds down the fort in the office and is the director of our call center and customer service. And the two lovely ladies on the bottom right are Vanessa Lee and Olga Sevastova, and they represent PONANT in Canada. Reach out to any of us anytime. And I believe that's it. So we're happy to answer any questions. I've been trying to keep up with them online, but please feel free, Anna, if there's anything else you want to add.
Perfect, thank you. And I know you've been doing a fantastic job with all of the questions. I don't know if you want to address any of them out loud for everybody while we have a couple of minutes left.
Sure. Let's see. So there was a question that said, are we adults only, or are families with young children welcome as well? And the response is children are welcome at the minimum age of 8 years old, and we can definitely talk in more detail about that if you reach out to one of the salespeople. Are there tables for 2 or 4 guests? I only saw large round tables. The answer is yes. Yes, we have tables for 2, 4, or more guests. And having experienced it myself, I know the configurations, and that is available in all of the restaurants. Let's see, Wi-Fi. Is there Wi-Fi on board? The answer is yes. We include Wi-Fi, so there's no extra charge for Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is always available. When I say that, it's always available as long as there's signal available. So depending on where you are in the world, there may be some spotty areas, but in general, on all of our fleet, Wi-Fi is included and available on board.
Unlimited, yes.
Unlimited, thank you, unlimited. Yeah, we don't give you a card and say you only have this much time. It's unlimited. What language is spoken on board besides English? Does the captain speak French? We speak both English and French on board. And yes, the captain does speak French, but also know that our staff on board, our wait staff and just our staff in general, are multilingual because we have guests from all over the world on board. We like to make everybody feel welcome. So the announcements are made in French and English, but our staff is multilingual. Let me see if there was any other major questions. 100% vaccinated. So on all of our expeditions, vaccinations are required. Our reservation team or sales team can give you more information on that. Proof of vaccination is required, and as well as a medical clearance form. And I think I covered all the major questions.
It looks like you did, and we just have one last question that we can end on from Cindy, who is wondering what the age demographic is.
Sure. So Frederick could probably expand on this, but I would say in general, 45 to 70 or even older, depending on, what people's exercise level is, but also know that one of the things that we do, not just on Charcot, but on all of our expeditions, is that we give the guests the ability to spend a small amount of time on a shore excursion or a larger amount of time. So in other words, depending on how comfortable they are being out on a shore excursion, we make it easy to get on and off the Zodiacs. So levels of fitness can vary so that everybody can have a wonderful experience. Frederick, I don't know if you want to add anything else to the
No, usually we say if you can go up and down 5 stairs, you can do an expedition cruise with PONANT.
Great, that keeps it simple. Thank you.
It's not challenging, and we adapt, like for example, the snowshoeing, we have different levels, or even the walks, we have different levels. Walk on the ice, we have different levels. So we really adapt to our clientele, but I would say we have more and more young and dynamic and sportive clientele as well on board among our guests. And
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. And that is
this is what I wanted to say. Like, everybody is welcome. You know, we don't have like a typical age group, or it's more a little bit of you know, it's international, multilingual, and also a little bit all ages, and sometimes families, but not many children. We don't have many children on board our ships in general.
And we are ADA compliant as well.
Yes.
Oh, got it. Thank you so much for all of that wonderful information. The videos and the images are fantastic. And thank you everybody for joining us. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Merci.
Thank you.